Hi, I'm
Hey.
Crystal. This is my husband, Eric.
Yes, I am.
Thanks for joining us. We're with the Dog Psychology and Training Center. Crystal,
Yes.
Eric.
Yes, we are.
And we have a exciting Facebook Live today. We're going to talk about what to do when you have house guests, people or friends staying with you for an extended period of time. More than a night, really, is what it means. So we, in light of this topic, we actually do have family coming to stay. We have my adopted dad, if you will, coming to stay with us for the weekend. It'll be his first time visiting us in South Carolina, so we're super excited to share that with him and all the reasons we love Greenville, South Carolina. So we want to talk about some things that we often get asked by our families when they have family coming from out of town.
Sleepover.
Exactly. What to do when you have sleepovers with kids, families coming from out of town, friends coming that are going to be staying with you and your dog. And so we will...
So, Chris,
Lost my train of thought.
what do we do when we have guests, or what should people do? Like, let's say, first off, when everyone's arriving, I'm just gonna throw questions at you. We didn't rehearse this.
We never rehearsed
We
it.
never
If you can't
rehearsed
tell,
this.
that's what makes it so fun.
So let's say the caravan just pulled in and people are bringing suitcases. You want to give hugs. You want to say hello. You want to figure out what's been happening over the last 17 years. You haven't seen this person forever. What do you do with your dog?
So the ideal situation is everything goes so smoothly, everybody has a place to go, there's no issues, and what we find, it's kind of the reality is it kind of ends up looking like Home Alone, you know, at the beginning of the movie when they have all their family in town and milk's being spilled all over the pizza and kids are running around crazy and the police officer can't even find the real family that lives there, and so it's crazy. Life is crazy, chaos, especially if you have a sleepover or family that's staying with you with younger children. It can just get real cray-cray.
I wanted to throw out a reference, but I couldn't think of any character names.
On Home Alone?
Yeah. Who's the kid that wets the bed?
Dewey?
Doesn't sound right, but maybe.
I don't know.
You know, they call it his name. Don't drink any more Pepsi. I was going to say that name. I couldn't think of the name. Just that's so frustrating. Continue.
Have mattress
So
liners.
it's crazy. Everybody's at the house, blah, having pizza and spilling.
So for that time, if your dog is not well-trained, by well-trained, I don't mean the commands that they know, the obedience that they do, but they're well-trained in their house manners of what's socially acceptable, like not running out the front door, not jumping on people, not begging for food. If your dog's like that, then this may not apply to you, this topic, because you really don't need this topic. And that's fantastic, and we're all jealous of you. Kudos to you. I think God knows we're dog trainers, and he's always given us dogs that have a little bit of baggage and maybe need a little bit more work than the average dog. So we have not been blessed with the happy-go-lucky, easy dog that's born speaking English. But we know they exist. We don't train them because they don't need trained.
Yeah, we don't get those calls.
No, not very often. Sometimes with puppies, and it's super great. But the reality is, most of us have dogs that do have some baggage. Maybe do have some history. Maybe you adopted or rescued them. Maybe you got them from a puppy and they're just a terror, anyways. And that's okay. And this is what this topic's going to help you with. So if you have that dog that maybe does still try to jump, or does steal food, or it does bolt out the front door, put them in their crate for this, first few hours of everybody coming and going and getting settled. That just makes it so much easier for you, the owners, the house owners, the dog owners, the mom and dad. It's just one less stress you have to worry about. You know that Fido is safe in his crate. He is not going to run out the door. He's not going to jump on anybody. He's not going to get away with any naughty behaviors.
And there's nothing worse than starting off a week with family at the house by having an incident, having to yell and scream at your dog, or getting upset with somebody that just came over at the house because you're all, because you can't contain your dog. Yeah, you don't want to start the week off like that.
No, and you don't want your family, did you already say this? You don't want your family being offended with the dog, jumping and pushing on them. That's never fun. I love dogs, but it is, I guess just because I'm a dog trainer and we're always training dogs with bad behaviors. When we go to someone's house and their dog has really bad behaviors, I'm like torn because I want to train their dog, but I don't want to work because this is my day off. I'm on a vacation. So I can see that from both sides, but it's one less thing you have to worry about.
Yeah.
So put them in the crate for those first few hours. And then once everybody's settled, maybe you have dinner ready, then it's maybe okay to bring your dog out, or you can keep them in there for dinner too. But when you bring your dog out, keep their leash on inside. And
leash.
everywhere you go, the dog goes. So you guys can, take turns tag teaming each other with the leash, or have it, if the dog's small, wrap it around your ankle. So everywhere you go, they go. Otherwise, if it's a big dog, keep it in your hand. We don't want them to hurt your wrist or your ankle, pull you down the stairs. But that way is just another resource or another way to make sure your dog isn't being naughty, getting away with bad behaviors. Because we know the reality is, if you're cooking dinner for your house guests, you want this to look great. You want it to taste good. It's all about presentation, right?
Seriously.
So, side note, if you want your food to look really great, get Micros by Upstate Greens, and you just top all of your food. Breakfast with eggs, spaghetti. It makes it look so wonderful, like you went to like a 5-star restaurant. Anywho.
Nice plug.
Yes. We love Micros. So what we'd recommend is having your dog on the leash. So as you're focused on getting this meal ready, your dog's not in the living room jumping on somebody or sitting on their lap when they're not even supposed to be on the couch, or chasing their children as they're trying to play with their toys, that your dog's like, oh, they just brought new toys for me with them, not realizing that they're your guests' toys. So just keeping your dog with you while you're, those first day, maybe 2 days.
Keeps them in your sights.
It does, and it lets you set the tone of this is what's allowed and what's not allowed.
Right,
Dogs are just like kids, and they're very people and location oriented. So if you're traveling with your dog and you're going to someone's house, this also applies.
Yeah,
when you go to get set up, put the dog in the crate first thing, and then you can take all your stuff in and out. Let your dog just relax, because getting used to the sights and smells of having people over to your house or going somewhere new is stressful enough for a dog. So just having them in their crate, just one more thing in their benefit to help them stay cool. And then...
Yeah, because even if your dog doesn't have some behavioral issues, if you have a bunch of guests over at the house, are they gonna start to maybe test some of the boundaries that they wouldn't normally test?
So that's what I was gonna say. With the behavior, I lost my train of thought, and I know you were trying to get me back on topic. I appreciate that.
Dogs being people and location.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is just like kids. Kids know there's that one family member that will wrestle and play with them like nonstop.
Sneak them cookies, let them do...
That's Eric. He's that guy. When we go to any family reunions, Eric's like the wrestle guy. Like, he gets to pick up all the kids and get like a workout all just from showing up.
I thought he was going to say I was the cookie guy.
No.
I'm like,
no.
Am I? Am I the cookie guy? Yeah, I'm the wrestle guy.
He's the wrestle guy. I am the not wrestle gal. Kids do not come up to me to wrestle. They come up to me to talk, maybe cuddle, sit on my lap, maybe read stories. I like to read stories. But kids know that every person they meet is somebody new, and they're going to figure out who that person is. The same is true for dogs. They know Eric's the wrestle guy. He's going to wrestle with the dogs. They know Mama doesn't wrestle. I'm here for cuddles. If you want to cuddle, I'm your gal. And the same is true for your house guests. You might have some house guests that maybe do like to wrestle, but your dog's kind of being a bully now. Like, they're, the human's done, but the dog still wants to go and go and go and go. And it can just be a bit overwhelming. So again, having your leash on, you can just pull that dog away and say, nope, that's enough for now. You need to relax. Give so-and-so a break. And just setting those ground rules from the beginning of this is what's allowed, this is what's not allowed. If you have let's say a child, and your dog's either, you have kids at home and your dog doesn't jump on your kids, or you don't have kids at home and now your dog's trying to jump on this kid that's staying with you. Again, just having them on the leash at the beginning, that first try that they try to jump, you can be there to say, no, that's enough, that's not allowed, and letting them know, setting that tone from the beginning, this is not acceptable. Versus if you had your guest there all day and your dog has been terrorizing them by just being bratty, jumping on them, maybe sniffing in inappropriate places, or, antagonizing them to keep playing and playing and playing, or petting and petting and petting them. Travelers are weary. They've been flying or driving all day, and as much as they love dogs and people, sometimes they just want to sit and relax and do nothing for a little bit. And so having your dog keep pestering them, that can be a bit frustrating too. So having them on the leash, first thing, as soon as your dog starts to test or make a not the best decision, you can be there to say, no, that's not the right decision. Here, let me show you what is the best decision, and then I'm going to reward you heavily for that. You know your dog. There's several different types of rewards. So that reward could be food, could be either kibble or a treat. It could be, for some dogs, they're not food motivated, are massive, careless. Toys. that might be their reward. You have a special toy that maybe you bought before family came, and now that they've been being very respectful for the last few hours, now would be a great time to throw that toy out.
New toy!
Hey, what a good boy. Here, take this toy and just have fun. It could be extra attention from you, so you physically petting them, verbal praise. You know your dog, so once they make that wrong choice, be there to interrupt it immediately, say, nope, that's not allowed. Here's what you should do. Make them do it, by making them obviously physically force their body to do it. But you can lure with treats or food. You can use their leash to kind of guide them where you need them to go in the house. Once they successfully have done that, then you reward. And the reward is so important in this order.
Yes,
Interrupt,
in that order.
Interrupt, and then don't praise them yet. You still need to show them what to do. And then praise them so that the next time they go to jump, they remembered, oh, last time I got in trouble for that. So maybe I should just go sit like they showed me and see how that works for me. Mm-hmm. The key is being attentive to that. If your dog goes and sits down and you ignore it, I'm like, well, that didn't work. I'm going to go back to jumping. Yeah. So be attentive to your dog those first few days. If your dog goes and you're like, oh, I think he might jump. I'm ready. And then he says, nah, I'm going to go sit down. That's your moment. That is your moment to let your dog shine. Like, tell everybody in the room. Don't get too excited, though, because you don't want him to get excited and jump. But tell everybody in the room to just maybe give him a little bit of calm attention. Like, oh, what a good boy. And just praising him for that, or having that special treat or that special toy, or you going and sitting on the floor right next to him and being like, oh, my gosh, I'm so proud of you. That is what makes dogs tick. They need that reward in this order to know what is allowed and what's not. So keeping them on the leash for those first few days. Nighttime. If your dog is normally left out of the house at night, which is fine, that's normal.
Out of the crate in
Thank
the
you.
house.
Yes.
If you normally kick your
Kick
dog outside, keep
them
him inside today.
If your dog is normally left out of their crate in the house at night, which is fine, better than throwing them outside, when you have company, especially if your dog has never seen these people before, and you know your dog best, so your dog may not have any issues with this, or your dog might be a little leery of this, but we always keep our dogs in the crate those first few nights, even those first few visits. From new family or friends, and we're dog trainers. Just because I don't want somebody to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, and my dogs are like, intruder! And bark, or heaven forbid, try to actually protect us from that intruder, because that's happened. And we don't want your dog or your guests to be in that predicament. So keeping everybody separate, your dog's in the crate, they're safe, they get to relax. When people are new to a new location, they may not sleep well, so they may be like up late reading in their room, or maybe they're going to the bathroom a lot. And if your dog is not in the crate, that could be stressful because your dog's pacing like, what's going on? Why won't these people just go to sleep? Like, they don't understand. But if you put them in a crate in a quiet room away from that commotion, they won't even know that nobody slept that first night, or that they were up and coming and going, getting a glass of water or whatnot.
And they probably need that rest more than a normal day, because they're probably
already overwhelmed.
Yeah, it's a lot more stimulation than they get on your normal Thursday afternoon.
Right. And just like, it's a good stress, but just like humans, I mean, when we have house guests, we love it. But it's different from our normal routine, and it is tiring.
And we sleep well.
We do sleep well. So, it's really important to give your dog that time, too. We, as adults, know to turn off. But remember, dogs have the average IQ of a 3-year-old. Would a 3-year-old willingly go to bed when you have company over? Would your 3-year-old willingly take a nap when you have company over?
Never.
They're going to play and play and play until they pass out.
Yeah.
Which is not good. That means they were overspent.
And usually before the pass out phase is the really crabby phase that nobody wants to be around.
And then like the adrenaline crazy phase, the adrenaline high, and then the pass out.
All phases that your dog will also go through.
Yes.
So consider that.
And it's mostly because of the overwhelm that's going to make them tired faster than they normally would. So be open to noticing, like, if your dog's getting testier, like maybe he's starting to jump again and he hasn't jumped for 2 days, or he's maybe starting to mouth on someone's hand and he hasn't done that since he was a puppy. It's probably because your dog is overwhelmed. He's just like, he's on that adrenaline high. Like, he is about to crash, but he's fighting it because he's so excited that people are here, and he's losing it because he's just so excited. That's a great moment to put him in the crate for a couple hours, and just let him take a nap. I mean, it doesn't even have to be a couple hours. It could be 30 minutes or an hour if you know they were sleeping that whole time. If they weren't, then wait till they were sleeping. But just making them get that nap is so important for your sanity, for your dog's sanity, and for your company's sanity. Any other topics on this subject?
I would just say one other thing. Something that we do a lot with dogs that aren't super keen on having a lot of guests over, or if our dogs are just seeming like it's a little much for them, we use the place command a lot.
Yes.
For those situations, because then our dogs can, obviously they're not getting the level of rest that they would get in their crate, in a separate room by themselves, but it is a totally different kind of atmosphere to have your dog like involved, but on a place, so they're just kind of stationary, and they can see everything that's going on, they can hear everything, but they're not like going around people and asking everybody, can I jump on you? Can I play with you right now? They're just, they can kind of be involved, but more relaxed.
Yeah.
So we'll use that for periods of time. So if your dog knows place, then that's a great thing to use for periods when you've got a lot of guests over. If your dog doesn't know place, check out our YouTube page. I'm sure we have several videos on how to teach that. So that's one of our favorites for that time.
Yep, and another reason to keep them on the leash. So if they are pacing nonstop, you can grab that leash, guide them to their place, cot, or their dog bed, or wherever you're going to have them place. And that way, again, you can kind of enforce it with that leash to show them, this is where I need you to stay. If they try to step off, you're going to guide them right back and say, nope, you're going to stay right here. One of the other things that we do is I'm allergic to dogs. So, interesting career choice, I know. But it's obviously not bad. I have runny noses, itchy eyes, and sometimes I break out in little tiny hive dots. But
she's never died.
Never died. Never had any anaphylaxis or anything. But we don't let dogs in the bedrooms. So our guest room is included with that. Even though we don't have guests every day, that's much more opportunities that the dogs could go in the room, because the majority of the time there's nobody here other than the family. We still just keep that room off limits. So if the guests do need a break, they don't have to worry about our dogs. We don't have to worry about our dogs sneaking in there and trying to disturb their rest time. So that's just another thing that we do. If your dog's normally allowed in the guest room, that's okay. Our dogs were allowed in our last guest room because the guests we had only were like our nieces and nephews and his little sisters, and they loved sleeping with the dog, so it was great. But if your dog's normally allowed in the guest room, just let your guests know. He's normally allowed in there, so if you don't want him in, just shut the door. And that way they have a permission from you to shut your dog out. Some people feel like they're obligated because they're staying with you to give your dog the attention your dog demands, and that's not fair. I feel like that. Like when I go to someone's house, I feel like I need to
uncomfortable for your guests.
Treat just like I have to treat my guests. The people who are letting me stay there, my hosts. I want to treat their dog well, and I don't want to offend anybody. So just letting them know it's okay if you just need to close the door and make sure the dog stays out. We're totally cool with that. So just being open and having that open communication will be really good for everybody as well. So
I think that was the only thing that really came to mind that you didn't know. Did you see something in my hair? I saw you look.
No. I think my eyes are just wandering today. I just had a piece of tape on me, and that was weird.
I'm wondering how many, before I pointed this out, how many people are going to notice my snot mark on my shoulder there.
From the baby.
Oh, yeah.
Between babies and dogs, we are always covered in snot.
Yeah, I didn't realize when we had kids I was going to become a walking tissue.
Right? Who needs a tissue? Let's call mom and dad over, give them a big hug, and wipe our snot on them and walk away.
Cool. Well,
so recap real quick, what to do when you have company or house guests staying for an extended period of time, meaning just overnight, and how to keep your dogs remembering their manners and make sure everybody has a peaceful and enjoyable encounter. 1, keep your dog on a leash. 2, I guess 1 should have been keeping your dog in their crate those first few hours as everybody's getting settled, coming and going, unloading the car. 2, keeping them on a leash when they come out of their crate so that they are relaxed and you're there to monitor their behavior choices. So if they start to make a behavior that's not ideal, you can say, nope, here's what you should do. Praise them for that and move on. And the goal is if you're consistent from the beginning, you just put the time in now. You won't have to put the time in later. Right. Your dog will just know, oh, I'm never allowed to jump on new people. Okay. Or I'm never allowed to jump on this specific person and this specific person and this I guess I'm not allowed to jump on anybody. So being consistent from the beginning by keeping that leash on, implementing the place command when you can't well, I shouldn't say when you can't. You should always be monitoring your dog. But when you're just, enjoying TV time, maybe you're watching a movie with everybody, and your dog's just pacing because he's stressed and he doesn't know why everybody's here and nobody wants to play with him.
Why is everyone sitting?
We should be having a party. So having that place command so that they can go and relax while you guys are relaxing. Creating them at night. So those first few nights when your company is staying with you, you don't want your dog to think they're intruders in the middle of the night when they have to do a bathroom break or get a glass of water or something. So creating them those first few nights or those first few visits even. So it could be like a week that first time and then a week a second time. By the third time you think, maybe he's good. But just being aware that it's okay to, I don't want to say restrict your dog's freedom when you have company, but to control it. So that if your dog is deserving of it, he can get it. But if your dog doesn't quite understand, the responsibility that comes with that freedom, you're there to show them what that responsibility means, so that they can learn what real manners are and how to appropriately approach, greet, and ask for attention from your house guests. So
for those dogs that don't know how to turn off,
right,
like little children that'll just go
go,
they
go,
croak. They kind of need to be guided into a rest.
Yes, right.
So, yeah. Cool.
You're the parent. You're the knowledgeable one. You are an adult. You got this. If you don't got this, that's what we're here for. Let us know. We can help you. So, again, I'm Crystal. This is my husband, Eric. We're from the Dog Psychology and Training Center. If you haven't yet, and you have friends that are expecting company or family that is expecting company, this would be a great video. Or you're going to visit family with their dog. This would be a great
Send this video to them.
to share with them, to give them a little heads up of what's acceptable. This is totally okay. Some people feel like it's not okay because their dog's never in their crate, so why would I put my dog in the crate now? It's because they need to learn that the rhythm of the day is changing for a little bit. Totally fine. So if you like this video, subscribe. We have a weekly Facebook Live where we do questions, Q&A. We also have topics like today's topic of what to do when you have house guests. And we're always just here to give you guys free information to help your dogs be better behaved family members.
Hey, Monica.
Hey, Monica. Thanks for
and,
joining. And I see we have Angel joined and Jesse. Hello.
And I'll say, even if you didn't like this video, go ahead and subscribe anyways, because you never know what we're going to talk about next week. It could be exactly what's on your mind right now.
It's true.
So subscribe regardless if you liked this video or not. I'm saying it. And if you have any questions, shoot us a comment. Yeah, post in the comments. We'll be checking them for the next, 48 hours-ish? We'll be checking them. We'll be checking them. We be checking. We better. Christian just joined. Hi, Christian. Hey, we better get off of this live so we can get ready for our house guest. We have been all day. All right. See you guys. Thanks for joining.